Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar today. We are excited you're here, and we hope that you get a lot of good value out of this. My name is Bronson Dameron. I'm the Director of Content here at Awardco, and my job today is to be the moderator for Marna and Shawn. And I'd like to introduce both of them. They're from 4Refuel, one of Awardco's great clients, and I'd like them to introduce themselves. Shawn, if you could introduce yourself first, and then we'll go from there. Thank you.
Absolutely. Hi, everyone. I'm Shawn McGuire, and I'm the Communications Manager for North America at 4Refuel. My role focuses on internal and external communications, including supporting the business with employee experience, how we share stories, recognize people, and help our teams feel connected. I've been closely involved in supporting 4Refuel's recognition program, which we've been running through Awardco for several years now. From helping shape how we talk about recognition internally to partnering with leaders and teams to capture the over and above efforts that our people put in every day. And as part of that, I worked alongside Marna in our Recognized Award submission, helping to tell the story of our approach to recognition and how it supports our people, culture, and business objectives.
I love that. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. We're excited to hear from you and hear what your whole experience has been, especially applying for an award. So thank you. And Marna, if you would please introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Marna Lagerquist. I'm the Talent Acquisition and Development Manager at 4Refuel. And in my role, I support key parts of the employee life cycle, beginning with recruitment. I do onboarding processes to training and engagement. I would say one of the highlights of my role has been leading the design and launch of our recognition platform through Awardco. This initiative gave me the opportunity to collaborate with an outstanding team at Awardco, and I heard one of them might be on there, so hello, and to help bring a meaningful culture building program to life for our employees.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you both for those introductions. It is great to have you here. And remind me, you're located in Toronto, is that right, both of you?
Yes.
Yep. Great. Well, that's excellent. We appreciate your time here. Thanks for coming. And all of you here on the chat, please feel free to pipe in and ask questions to Marna and Shawn at any time. I'll be happy to kind of moderate those. And so if you have questions about what was the application like? What did you do to win this award? Anything like that? Ask those questions at any time, and we'll be happy to get those going. So as we dive into this, Shawn and Marna, I want to show your customer story video that we did for you to let everybody kind of get a general sense of what 4Refuel does and to help them see a lot of the excellent, all the achievements that you've done with Awardco. So I'm going to play that right now. It's about 2 minutes long, maybe a little bit less, and then we'll come back and we'll chat about it. So here we go.
I think everybody who comes to work at 4Refuel understands how they make a difference. And whether you're directly on a customer site delivering fuel to them, or you're supporting the organization in what it does, you bring value to what you do every day.
We have roughly 650 employees located in 8 provinces in Canada, and we're also in the state of Texas. Roughly 70% of our employees are known as certified refueling professionals, so they are the employees who go out and fuel the needs of our customer.
So we have a lot of different programs to make sure that we encompass all our employees. There's 3 programs that are attached directly to our core values, our peer-to-peer. We also have the manager-led programs, and then we also have our safety programs like our Safety All-Stars, which is a monthly award that's automated. We have our customer service and our annual awards. So it's keeping everything fresh and new.
We were doing recognition partly even before we got into this platform, but this platform made it so easy for our frontline leaders and middle managers to run the recognition program.
75% of our employees are out in the field. So how do we get them excited and engaged? So the safety programs really got them excited. They had the opportunity to earn a lot of points, but also getting that recognition. So I was really impressed how much our login engagement increased as time went on.
In my personal experience, I've met our employees during my visits, and they're really looking forward for the next month, getting that extra money through the reward points. Employees used these rewards points for their favorite things, like in a vacation or buying Christmas gift for their kids. And every month we have a set of people coming to our leaders and asking us, okay, how much reward I got this month? How is my score and how am I doing? That conversation is happening in our dressing room, change rooms, and that really drives our safety culture in our organization.
All right. That was amazing. You're both stars. You're both on that video. How's that feel?
Kind of neat, actually.
It was a great video. Yeah, it was a fun experience doing that and getting it done.
Yeah,
we had
thank
a
you.
great time.
Tell us more about the programs that you've run, specifically some of the safety programs. Shawn, I know that you have a little bit of insight there. Marna, I would appreciate your input as well. Shawn, maybe you can kick us off a little bit just to give us a brief overview of what some of those programs are that you've run and how you got people to engage with them.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, our story with Awardco kind of began several years ago, and we were really looking at how could we make some improvement to employee recognition and make it a more seamless experience. And what we were also trying to do is understand what were the objectives that we were trying to achieve, and to have what were we really trying to drive. And obviously safety was one of those objectives. And so we've made safety a key part of our program. And so we have a number of Awardco or a number of programs that Marna can speak to. And it's really, complemented. We brought everything to Awardco just to make it a really seamless experience.
Yeah. When you say everything, what do you mean by that when you brought everything into Awardco?
Yeah, so safety is a huge component of it. One of the big things that we wanted is to really drive values, right? So we wanted employees to really understand what are the values that we have, and so our reward programs are specifically tied to those values, which are people, passion, purpose, pride, performance. We have our annual employee awards that run through Awardco. Really, any and all recognition that an employee would get runs through the platform, and then one of the great benefits to that is they all pool together, and employees can really decide what they want with those awards.
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for that, Marna. You might have some more insight there. Shawn mentioned that specifically around the safety programs.
Yes, so we do have a few. I would say our biggest one would be our Safety All-Stars program, which is a monthly program that we have. And every month they have to hit a specific safety threshold, and we have a couple of different layers. So if they hit that every single month, they will earn reward points. We also have seasonal campaigns that we do for our safety programs. And, whether, we get a lot of snow here. So whether it's in the winter and we need to, focus on safe driving or, certain parts, or in the summer, we've got the heat and different variables that could be impacting the driver's day. And I also wanted to make one comment too, before I finish with the programs. We call our drivers CRP. So sometimes you might hear Shawn and I use that acronym CRP. So just to kind of tell you what that stands for, it's Certified Refueling Professional. So our drivers are professionals, and we need to recognize that. And that is why they have a designation on their own within 4Refuel. So that talks about the safety programs. We have a few other programs, like we have our Driver of the Year. We have Award of Excellence, which is, our central services, which is more the office perspective. We have Customer Service All-Stars. We have so many different programs to ensure that we are encompassing all employees within the organization. Even though a majority of individuals are drivers, we need to make sure, that supporting team is also being recognized for all the hard work that they do.
Yeah, so you have employees both in office and a lot of drivers, right? What was the acronym that you used? CDP, was that right?
CRP.
RP.
Certified Refueling Professional.
There you go.
No, perfect.
Yeah, so that's a pretty dispersed workforce. You got a lot around in different areas like that. So I love that. Thank you so much. And the award that you applied for last year was the Best Employee Engagement, and that's indeed the one that you ended up winning. Tell me more about how you decided that was the one you wanted to apply for, and what kind of got you started down that road, and what got you excited about that. Marna, maybe we can start with you on that one.
I was going to say, let's start with Shawn, but okay, let's
sure.
go ahead. No, I'm kidding. I can go ahead and start. So Shawn and I work, as he mentioned, really closely together, and we kind of evaluated, where using things that we have would fit in and where we could really showcase that. So kind of looking at the different options that we had, we just felt this was the best fit for us, which was, a well-rounded thing of showing what we've actually done with the program. So Shawn, I'll let you build on that as well.
Yeah, of course. I mean, we looked at, what did we really achieve, through Awardco. It was, culture plays a big part in that. And so, when we looked at the awards that we were invited to apply to, and that one, I think, had the most natural fit for what our application of the platform was.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. We actually have a question here in the chat from Sarah. What does this safety program, referring to the one that 4Refuel has, what does this safety program look like in the platform, in Awardco? Is it just a budget where when the people meet the criteria, they get the points, or do people nominate them? Maybe give us a little bit of insight into that program.
I can go ahead and answer that if that's all right. So we have a couple of different programs, and I guess I should have mentioned too. So we do have nomination programs as well. The Safety All Stars is not a nomination program. So basically we have a budget, and within that budget, we have an internal program that tracks the safety performance of each of the drivers. So it assigns kind of points, and if they have to hit within a certain ratio of those points in order to be able to qualify for the reward.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if that fully answers your question, but yeah, we do have nomination programs. This is based on the program score within the truck.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. Sarah, if you have any other questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat and we'll kind of elaborate on that. And going back to the application for the award, Shawn, I know that when we spoke previously a couple of weeks ago as we were kind of preparing for this, you mentioned you have a lot of experience in applying for awards and things like that. How did that help you? And do you feel like you needed that in order to apply for this one for Awardco? Give us some insight there about some of that background you have.
Yeah. So yeah, just in participating in award application processes over time, you kind of get to understand and hone in on what judging panels and selection panels are really looking for. And I would say the key piece to that is really some people may be really attracted to a narrative, right? You could tell a really good story about what you've accomplished and what you've done, and that's really good. And then there's obviously data that ties to that, right? And sometimes it could just be like a data dump, right? And it's not just a narrative, and it's not just a data dump. It's in between. It's using a narrative, but to weave in your business. What did you achieve through the program? And so where did you start from? What were your objectives? How did you achieve those objectives? And how did that drive the needle for the business?
I love that. I want everybody on this webinar to know we did not prompt Shawn to say anything like that. Didn't say, Shawn, can you please say this, and this? No, that's great and incredible insight, because the selection process here internally for Awardco is just that. We look for both a narrative and for the data to kind of build this whole story. And when you submitted that last year, what were some of the data pieces that you added along with the narrative as you both applied for this award last year? Any kind of anecdotes, any interesting findings or cool stats that you shared that you feel were impactful?
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think we, what our strategy was for Awardco is really wanted an all-encompassing program. We kind of where our journey began was, we kind of realized that there was opportunity for improvement within our recognition program, and how we wanted this program to, and what we felt it could do to improve consistency and just really work better for our employees and just deliver a more consistent recognition experience. And so we partnered with Awardco, and they really helped us to set up our programs and set up the system in a way that was really going to help us achieve those results that we wanted to achieve. So obviously safety played an incredible, a significant part in that. We were able to demonstrate, how safety has been able to improve. There was a turnover reduction, which was a result, and just different statistics that helped to sort of show that these programs were doing and achieving the things that we were that we wanted them to achieve.
I'll say they achieved them. I mean, like the statistics that the outcomes you have all seen from just using Awardco, but also safety increase, like better safety, better recognition, all those kinds of things. I mean, that's incredible. That's why you got the Best Employee Engagement Award. Like that's awesome. We talked a lot about safety programs. I wonder, maybe you can give us, Marna and Shawn, some insight into some of the other programs that you've run with Awardco and how those have impacted your workforce. Marna, do you have any insights there?
I can definitely speak to that one. So one of the other awards that we have, talking about nomination process, is we have an award called Customer Service All-Stars. And basically that is a nominated award. So a manager may have seen, their employee do something fantastic for one of our customers. So it's really kind of a customer-based award. So it could have applied to anyone within the organization that, went up and above or did something special. And it was really just kind of recognizing how great they did. So it does go through a nomination process. So that's one of them. Another one is our Award of Excellence, which again is for outside of the driver positions for the supporting staff. We do have other ones where we actually assign our leadership budgets. And within those budgets, there's a couple of different programs that they have. So if their employees are doing a great job or did something, up and above, it's really the managers making sure to recognize that through our core values. So these are built through our core values, but everything's not budget based. So any employee can send a message to anybody, whether it's through a greeting or one of the automated ones, which is the birthdays or the anniversaries. So everybody has the opportunity to reach out. And with us being so spread apart and a lot of individuals, being in the truck, we really want, that connection. And I find that this site definitely offers that.
That right there tells me, speaks to why you won the Awardco or the Best Employee Engagement Award, because you have so many different kinds of programs. And not only that, you have ones that are not budget based, right? They don't require any points. You can just go in and recognize each other and, build each other up, build that kind of environment that you want to cultivate at 4Refuel. And do you feel like that has had an impact on a level of employees are maybe a little more excited, a little more bought in? Obviously, they're more safe. We've talked about that, which is really great. Any thoughts there? How that's contributed to your organization as a whole?
Do you want you go ahead, Shawn.
One of the things that we've seen is every year we're seeing north of 7,500 unique recognitions through the platform, which is quite significant. And as Marna mentioned, we have 75% of our workforce that are field based, right? So they're not at a desk, so they can access Awardco through their phone. 84% of our employees are locking in on a monthly basis. So for sure, there's that engagement part, and we can see that. The other part, you're saying, about, is this playing a big role? And I would say yes. They're excited about rewards, right? And you can see that when you're watching the video, our director of EH&S, was saying, the management, when they do go into the field, employees are coming up to them and saying, hey, did I get my threshold, or how many, what points am I getting? So there's a lot of different ways to earn points, and And then once you have and accumulated points, they can do what they want with it, right? So, it's not just, giving out gift cards to a restaurant or, a coffee shop that, do they like that restaurant? Do they drink coffee? They're able to reselect what they want. We have had an experience where an employee was able to save up enough points that it covered the cost of them going on vacation. So it's quite significant. And others, we've heard from, it helps them with their hobbies, right? They have a hobby and they bought a new fishing rod, a drone, or whatever it is that they like to do, on their own time. So it kind of, so there's a motivation, to accumulate points from that perspective.
Thank
I
you
was
for
just going to
sharing.
make one comment too. Like, I was just going to say another thing I find with a lot of the restaurant ones, they're able to take their family out for a meal and, that bonding time, which is great as well.
Yeah, you're building employees outside of work as well in that regard, which is really powerful. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. For the next little bit, I want to make sure that we hit on I know a lot of people attending this webinar may have some specific questions about, like, how did the application process work? Was it difficult? What if I don't have the stats that 4Refuel clearly has, a lot of really great stats? What if I don't have those? Should I still apply? I want to make sure we address those. But before we do, I want to ask, Sarah has piped into the chat. I just want to pose this to both of you, and then we'll go to that application process and just kind of highlight that briefly. But Marna and Shawn, I want to ask you, do you find the same amount of recognitions happening in no point related recognitions?
I would find more. I would definitely say more. A lot of colleagues are recognizing each other, and across different provinces or different parts of the U.S., which makes it fantastic. So everybody's really cheering everybody on, and somebody helps somebody out on something, they're recognizing them. So yeah, I would say definitely more on that side, which is great to see.
That's really cool. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for asking that question, Sarah. So I want to make sure, I know we have a lot of people here wondering about, should I even apply? What was that process like? Was it difficult to gather any information? Do you feel like, is there anything you would have done different if you were to apply again for a recognized award? Let's talk a little bit about that. Shawn, do you have any insights there?
Yeah, I mean, I would say, really understand what your story is. What are you trying to tell? And then once you have that in place, you're looking for the specific data points that help to illustrate those things, right? Mm-hmm. So you might understand, hey, you did X and, it made improvements here. So you can then go and find, those pieces to really, like I say, it just adds that extra layer of, legitimacy to the application.
Yeah, I was just going to add one other thing. Sorry, Bronson, I keep interrupting you. I was just going to say Awardco also has lots of reports that you can pull some data from as well. Just a little hint there.
That's true. Yeah, exactly. And that's, again, something that we look at on a monthly basis. We look at our dashboard and see, how many people are going into the system, how many rewards, did it go up or down from the previous month? What programs are performing well, we're constantly evolving in, what that looks like. So there's a ton of information, both to, supplement an award, but also to guide, ongoing decision making and just keeping the platform fresh and make sure it's still effective in accomplishing what it's meant to be doing.
I love that. Yes, absolutely. Great call outs that you're not alone, right? You don't have to find this data and produce it out of nothing. You can look in your Awardco platform. There's lots of good data there. And even we're happy to help you. Like, we want you to succeed as well. So you can contact your CSM or contact us here at Awardco, and we'll help you find that data. We are invested in your success. We want to make sure that you get that, and we're happy to help. So I'm going to share down at the bottom of the screen, you'll see apply for a recognized award here. I'll just keep that up for a moment, just because I want to make sure that the link is available for all so you can see it and apply quickly there. So there's another question here from Jess, this kind of going back to your platform. Is there anything you did to encourage employees to complete their profiles? Great question. I wonder if either of you have insights there.
Are you going to answer it or me, Shawn? I wasn't sure.
I was going to say, Marna, you probably have better line of sight into that one.
Well, okay, so we did a lot of different things. We went out to the location. So we have, again, another acronym, BTU is our business team units, but it's like our yards. We actually went out and, we have monthly meetings there, got them excited. What is this? I think a lot of what drove it too, like they were able to get to buy things. So, and it wasn't, it was easy to earn points, based, like, for example, on safety. They just doing their job, they're able to, get this reward. So I found that we did posters, we did some leadership training. So we really kind of got ourselves out there and did some advertising and, spending that time. So once everybody, but making sure we trained leadership as well. So, we're not going to be there every day. So they were comfortable with, sharing it. We made like an FAQ, we made a manual. So there were lots of different avenues that they could use in order to get excited, but comfortable with using the platform.
And I would just add on to that, Marna, the platform was pretty easy to use as well.
Yes.
So getting on there wasn't a challenge, especially even on the cell phone.
Yeah, on the mobile app where you're able to, that's great. Yeah, love that. And you got, Jess says, thank you, Jess, for offering that question. So we appreciate it. In the last few minutes that we have, I'd like to ask each of you, and we'll start with you, Marna, what has recognition, not necessarily Awardco, but what does recognition mean to you, both personally and professionally? And if you have a story or just what it means to you, I'd love to hear that. And then Shawn will ask you the same question.
So what does recognition mean to me? Well, you know what? I'm going to let Shawn start because I have an idea of something. And then anyways, I'm going to let Shawn start. You go ahead first.
Let it germinate. Yeah. Shawn, kick us off.
Sounds good. Yeah, recognition. What does it mean? I mean, I think for some people it means different things. I mean, for me, it's just taking that time to tell somebody that they've done a good job, right? And whatever that means, and however they've supported, just going through and saying, that they've done a great job. And you'd be surprised how much that means to people. Yeah,
I agree with that. I've felt that in my own life too. Both naturally, I'm going to say that because I work at Awardco, but like outside of it too, it means a lot just to be appreciated. And maybe that's fuzzy and fluffy, but it does mean something. So Marna, what about you?
Yes. So the way I look at it, Bronson, is where do you spend most of your day? You're at work, right? You're working hard and you want to be acknowledged and appreciated for that. So I really feel that, a simple thank you, or, I think another positive thing is, so somebody gives somebody else a recognition and you have the opportunity to comment or do an emoji. It just kind of shows, more people appreciate me. Thank you. Yeah. So it really kind of brings that out. And I guess kind of my closing comment, I'm not sure if we're there yet, but I feel like it's a great opportunity for an organization to share their own recognition story. So yes. I just kind of wanted to share that as well.
Well, and Marna, I would layer on to that to say, it gives people the opportunity to recognize. And sometimes people aren't always fantastic at doing that without, and especially on a peer-to-peer level. You work together, sometimes you don't always say, thanks for being a great colleague. So when you provide that opportunity and that platform to say it, it makes it easy. And then when you make it part of your culture, and that's, again, we talked about that a little earlier on before, is just to say, we get a lot of peer-to-peer, recognitions. And that's no monetary involved there. It's just to say, thank you, good job. So, it took a while, I would say, to get to that point. But, I think people really do see the value and they know where to go to do it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you both so much. We're right here at time, but I want to make sure that I express my appreciation and recognize both of you for joining us here today, but also for all the work you're doing there at 4Refuel. It's clear that what you're both doing has had an immediate impact, and really appreciate that. So Thank you for all of you for attending. Please apply for a Recognize Award. I know a lot of you are kind of on the edge thinking about it. Please apply. We would love to just see your applications. We'd love to help you succeed. And thank you, Marna and Shawn, for joining us today. And we hope everybody here on this webinar has a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.